from the Opus Radio News Center, this is an Opus Radio News Update.
Hope you were able to get some sleep tonight and the storms didn't do too much damage to your property. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Al Quartemont with your web news update. Well, things did get a little rough overnight. Several lines of thunderstorms passed through our area. The National Weather Service says areas of central Louisiana received as much as 8 inches of rain. There was a flood warning that remained in effect for Central Rapids Parish until 7:30 this morning. They say you should expect some flooded roads until the water recedes. According to CLECO, about 600 people in Rapides and Grand parishes were without power this morning. As the storm moves east, there have been tornado warnings for areas north of New Orleans. Fortunately for folks who made it down to Mardi Gras yesterday, those storms never really hitting the Crescent City. The annual free-for-all party ended at midnight. Police cars, followed by officers on foot and others on horseback, moved down Bourbon Street, declaring Carnival to be over. Behind them were those usual street sweepers and trucks. Thousands of revelers packed the 12 blocks of Bourbon Street earlier in the day, including New Orleans resident Rick Polizzi.
I think everybody had a great time. I think that's what made more people come out. So it was like one of the biggest crowds I had ever seen. I'm from here, and one of the biggest crowds that I've seen in a long time. Happy Mardi Gras. New Orleans is back. We're trying to rebuild from the hurricanes, but we're coming back strong, so come visit us.
Now, many of those who were partying yesterday are heading to church today. It is Ash Wednesday, and speaking of that, a Lent fish fry will be held at St. Francis Xavier Cathedral's Xavier Hall from 11 until 1. The cost $6 per plate. You can dine in or take out. In state news, a dramatic account of last year's Deepwater Horizon oil rig explosion off the coast of Louisiana is being made into a movie. The film writes to the 8,500-word story that ran in the New York Times last December of the final moments before the explosion that killed 11 workers and led to the worst oil spill in U.S. history has been bought by Summit Entertainment. Summit says the film will portray the heroism of Deepwater's crew and evoke the raw emotion depicted in that newspaper article. Want to fly to Cuba? Well, you'll soon be able to do that from New Orleans. Louis Armstrong International, one of 8 new airports given permission to schedule charter flights to and from Cuba. Previously, flights were only permitted from Los Angeles, Miami, and New York. Access to flights to the communist island nation will still be limited to people who meet certain travel requirements, including people from Cuba and those traveling for educational purposes or with religious groups. The decision, part of a broad effort to reach out to the Cuban people, announced by President Obama earlier this year. In Wednesday sports, the number 7 ranked LSU Tigers baseball team hosts Sacred Heart out of Fairfield, Connecticut tonight at 6:30 at Alex Box Stadium. The Tigers coming off their first loss of the season, 8-7 to Princeton on Sunday, still ranked number 7 this week according to the Collegiate Baseball Magazine poll, and LSU's number 8 in the USA Today ESPN rankings as well. And the second-seeded NSU Demons tip off play in Southland Conference Tournament in Katy, Texas today against 7th-seeded Texas San Antonio. The Demons, 18-13 on the season, have won 3 of their last 4 games. Meanwhile, the Lady Demons saw their season come to an end last night. They lost to Lamar in the first round of the Southland Women's Tournament, 81-77. That loss ending the Lady Demons season at 14-16. We'll have more news on our Truth 104.3 FM Facebook page. You can always send us your news. Send news at opusbroadcasting.com. I'm Al Quartemont.